You grew up in a way that was so chronicled. Everybody has a big fat opinion about your life and your mother's life and you know.
Liza Minnelli, legendary star of stage and screen and a gay icon, recently came to In the Life to chat with her friend, actor and playwright Charles Busch.
And I was watching Cabaret again for about the 250th time, and I was just so taken with just how completely contemporary it is. Didn't I read that your father actually was the one who came up with the idea of the Sally Bowles haircut?
Oh God, he was such an influence in that movie. I cannot tell you.
So he would tell you something, then you would share it with Fosse?
Well, it couldn't work quite like that. You can't really say, my dad said,
Now, you'd already had worked with Cantor Nebb because you had done Flora the Red Menace.
Yes, and Liza with the Z. We'd started to work on that already.
Fred Ebb was an enormous mentor to you. What were some of the things that Fred Ebb gave you as a mentor?
He said, first of all, you're not going to sing anything that your mother sang. We have to write a song that is completely yours. And they wrote Liza with a Z.
It's Liza with a Z, not Lisa with an S, because Lisa with an S goes snazz.
See, I've always been able to recognize the talented people that taught me.
Because in Cantor Nebb, when you first met them, they weren't Cantor Nebb yet.
No.
I mean, they were just as fresh as
Fred
you were.
and Johnny. And they wrote Liza with a Z, and that gave me my identity, so off we went.
Another person that was so important in your life was the great designer Halston. How'd you meet him?
I met him through my godmother, Kay Thompson.
Oh.
She introduced me to him because she said, put this on. And I did, and it looked great. And she said, that suits you. Come. And she took me to Bloomingdale's, or as she called it, Blooming Balls. I'm not disrespecting Bloomingdale's whatsoever. I can't tell you how many wonderful names because I lived there practically. So we went off and she showed me these marvelous outfits and they suited me. So she introduced me to Halston. It was wonderful. And he was my dearest friend.
I wasn't sure.
2 weeks before their conversation, Charles had presented Liza with PFLAG's Straight for Equality and Entertainment Award. And Liza presented the audience with a song.
I never kissed a man before. Now isn't that a shame? I never kissed a man before I knew his name.
When you were 16 years old, suddenly on your mother's TV show or on the Jack Parr show or thrown into these big, high-profile situations when you're just raw, what were the various things going on in your head? I mean, it must have been thrilling and terrifying at the same time, wasn't it?
No.
I mean, no.
It wasn't terrifying because I was always able to recognize who to gravitate towards. And that was the talented people. I was always able to know who to go to learn. And it was an adventure.
Where did you get that kind of drive from the beginning just to, at 16 years old, come to New York on your own? And I mean, what were you thinking? It's hard sometimes to go back and remember what our thought processes were when we were younger, but can you try to recreate a little bit of that?
Watching. I loved to watch. I loved the thought process. I loved, journeying through MGM. I had a bike they gave me, and I was all over that studio. It was like my playground.
So you were on the set of Brigadoon and American in Paris. You'd be too young to remember.
Oh, I remember.
Do you remember when they shot the famous ballet sequence?
Oh yes, and I remember the smoke coming through the funnels in the American in Paris ballet.
Oh my God!
I watched everything, and I loved it. Now, I don't know if you've heard, but I've been labeled as a gay icon. Well, no, Sherlock.
I have this image that if showbiz was a huge banquet, there's a special table where a very select group of extraordinary women are seated, and you're at that table, and I guess we would say these are the gay icons. I mean, it's you and your mother and Bette Midler and Barbara Streisand. I guess Cher kind of is maybe sitting over here, maybe. but there, this is like a table of extraordinary women. Did it take a while to sort of understand that or accept the idea that you have this big gay following?
Why?
In the 60s, your career spans a lot. In the
I'll say.
In the 60s, gay people weren't even out. So I think even the women who, in a certain sense, the women they loved weren't out.
So I've always thought of the audience as my audience. When those people walk into the theater, we're together for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I don't think I think of anybody as anything.
You were one of the first celebrities to really throw yourself into sort of AIDS activism, but you lost some key people in your life to AIDS. And
Yes.
Was that what spurred you on?
No, I don't think it was a group of people. I think it was just the people I loved. I thought of individuals as opposed to a certain kind of person or what they did behind closed doors. They're my friends. And their privacy was in a funny kind of way, their privacy. Mm-hmm. And I grew up to respect privacy. We were taught that. I think that often gay people can identify with the outcast, and they survive, and they get through it all, and they make it. Look how we've made it, all of us. I know from survival, believe me. I just had my knee replaced, and just standing here is surviving.